everybody? Welcome to another coffee hour with me, your host, Paul Abernathy. Here we are, Wednesday, hump day. We're halfway through the week. We're supposed to get snow here, probably 12, 10 inches, maybe 11 inches. Probably going to get it up there where you're at as well, Terrence. But as always, folks, thanks for joining me this morning, getting your coffee ready. I will, disclaimer today, not promoting it, but my caffeine of choice today is this. Not doing coffee. I've already had 3 cups already this morning. I was up early, so I might as well not turn into one big bathroom break. So decided to go with a little Diet Coke, Pepsi, Diet Pepsi. So this is Diet Pepsi hour this morning rather than coffee hour, but don't tell them, they'll want sponsorship money and all that kind of other crap. So, hey, welcome to the stream. If it's your first time here, you've never come before, we don't just talk about exam prep. We talk about just about anything here in Coffee Hour. So we're glad you joined us. Again, as always, I always want to live vicariously through people that follow us, students, people that have had success in the program, all those type of things. So I get emails and messages constantly, and I love getting that information. So if you're new or if you're a frequenter, do me a favor, let me know your name and let me know where you're from. If you're a fast track student, that's awesome. I always love to hear that. Let us know that in the chat, whatever platform you are. And as always, #win gets you in today's spin. And so we want to make sure that you're included in that. Again, we know you don't come for the giveaways or the drawings. We know you come to enjoy the National Electrical Code and all that kind of good stuff. But we just want to make sure that we let you know that you can get in on the spin today. All right, so let me know where you're from. Let's kind of go back. And as I always do, we're going to holler at some folks here. Adam, thank you as always. Rainy, Oregon. Thank you for joining us today. Adam, appreciate you being here. Samantha, good morning from Washington State. I guess that's Washington State, right? Good morning. Thank you for joining me. I did see your comment on the boards. Again, I do read the comments. So again, thank you very much, Samantha. Hopefully it does help apprentices come with their A game. We hope they do. Good morning, Terrence. A lot of people think I don't engage here in a lot of the comments, but I am very active in all of those things. I stay totally engaged in every student's activity. Whether Jeff's doing something in the background or Darlene's monitoring something, I constantly stay. And then with the new folks that are working on the interactive courses, you'll never meet them. They're subcontracted. They work for us, but they make the interactive courses that'll be launching over on Fast Track's Tube. That type of thing. Paul, good morning, down in Houston. People getting in on the #win. Paul's getting in on it again. There you go. You only have to do it once, but you can do it as often as you feel like you want to do it. And let's see what else we got here. Nepo, good morning. Pixie, fellow Pixie tamers. Let's see. Outdoors Man, welcome. Thanks for joining us this morning. Crypto, thanks for joining us. Rob Nickman over on the tube, and I guess the tube is working today, so that's good. It looks like it's working good over there. It's supposed to be. If I look a little fuzzy, I don't know how to fix that. To be honest with you, I think it's just the stream quality is what it is. Let's see here. What do we got? Good start to the putting air in my work van tire. Flat tire. Is that just to the cold weather? You think somebody did something? Oh, I don't know. We got to have a sinister. Wait a minute. Hold on. I don't really have anything for that, guys. So I'll just do this. Sorry about that, Adam. Good morning, John. Welcome to the stream this morning. I see you in there, Jay, with the win. Good morning, Manny. Watching over on Facebook. Thank you. I see Beto's in the house. Wow. Crypto Maniac says it's minus 10 degrees. Woo! In Minnesota. I guess that's Minnesota. Let's see here. Van Man, good morning. Sarasota. Glad you're here. Tyrone, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Frank is up in the house here. Good morning, Frank. Santa Clarita, California. Hump day. That's what I'm talking about. Edgar's in the house. Good morning, Edgar. Thanks for joining us this morning. Hanford. There you go. That's where Samantha is in Hanford. Thank you for joining. All right, what do we got here? Everybody's chiming in. Jay Ormond. Thank you, Jay. Good morning. Glad to have you here. David's in the house. Is David over on the tube? Yep, it's over on Fast Track's tube. Good morning, Dave. Nebraska. Seems like the tube is working okay today. So at least we got that going. So when we were having issues, I contacted EV Mux and told them, I said, you know what? I don't know what's going on. They said, well, it's your upload speed, those type of things. And I said, well, how can it be it always works fine. How come it just stopped working? You know, that type of thing. So anyway, like I said, hopefully in the next month or two, we're going to be getting a new internet in here that's going to be 50 times faster. I hate to abandon Elon Musk's Starlink, but again, the upload speeds is where my biggest demand is here. And we got a lot of other stuff planned over in the other room that we have here for podcasting. So I really need the bandwidth for some of the stuff that we got planned. So they promise us in the next month and a month and a half, we're going to get that in here. So that will be awesome. I'm always need for more speed. You know what I'm saying? All right. Good morning, Dave. Welcome. All right, guys, let me know what your thoughts are here this morning. Real quick, opening monologue, if you will, is that I wanted to have a little bit of a discussion today about preparing for an electrical exam, or how to study properly for an electrical exam, or basically just studying the National Electrical Code in general. Some tips. And I thought what we would do is we would actually use Office Hog and ask it some recommendations this morning for those that are preparing. Now, if you've already got your license and everything, you already, there's still a sense of anxiety sometimes when you're out on the job or something like that, and somebody's put you in a very pressure-ish situation where you have to give them a code answer. I got friends of mine that work on projects, and they're put under a lot of pressure to make sure they give them the right code reference and they know how to look it up. And even though they may know more than that person that asked them, if they take longer than normal, then they get stressed out for some reason. So if you're going to study the NEC, or if you're like me, I mean, I've been doing this for damn near 40 years. I still read the NEC. I still study it. I still look at certain things. Lucky for me, I get a lot of questions from people. So it keeps me constantly reading it, that type of thing. But just real quickly, we're going to look at Office Hog, and we're going to ask Office Hog some questions about studying and see what Office Hog, and see if I agree with some of the recommendations that Office Hog has to say. So let's go on and get over here real quick. Let's see here. So let me go on and get there. Bear with me. I don't know that question, Frank. They might make them. You'd have to. You can get a wireway or gutter made at any dimension you want. They're not required to be listed. So as long as you get a sheet metal maker that makes the thickness, they can pretty much make anything you want. But as far as standardized sizes, that's probably something you need to ask the manufacturers. I don't know that answer to that question. All right, so. And we can ask that in the Hog, but I don't know that it would know that. That's a manufacturer-specific production. But there are standard sizes that they sell. All right, so anyway, we're at the Ask the Hog here. This is the portion that's included with everybody that has a Trade Hog subscription. You can go up here and get there. You can get to Office Hog. This one is fine-tuned to ask specific questions, contractor-specific questions, business ownership, all the type of stuff. So not necessarily the Trade Hog. So I'm not putting it in the Trade Hog search, because the Trade Hog is geared towards codes and standards and stuff like that. So that's why we created the Office Hog, which is the back-end support. So we're just going to go in here, and I have a pre-done question I'm asking it. It says, give me some mental tips when studying to help keep you focused for an electrical exam. Okay. And so we're just going to see what the Hog has to say. The Office Hog. So let's kind of bring the Hog up here, and then I'll bring it back. Let's go back to here real quick, because we can still get the information here so we can all see it, and your comments can be commented. So let's see here. What's the first thing we see here is, while let's see. My expertise is primarily in construction, contracts, business management, and workforce related legalities. Okay, because that's what we're training this model for. It says I can offer some general study tips that may help you stay focused while preparing for an electrical exam. Create a study schedule. That is so true. So if you are preparing for an electrical exam, or maybe a inspector's exam or something like that, one of the things is we always talk about what's called structured studying, and it's not just having a course like our Fast Tracks program. It is making sure that you pick a scheduled time. So one of the questions that I always get from people is, how much should I study? How long should I expect to study for an electrical exam? This is for you electrical exam folks. If you're not studying for an electrical exam, this is just a generic study when you should study for study the code to become better at it. And if you work in this industry, you should always be trying to learn a little bit about the NEC to help you in your job, right? The more you learn code, the less mistakes you're going to make. But when we're talking about studying, creating a study schedule basically says, when I tell people how they should study, you've heard me say this, it takes about 95 to 100 hours of dedicated study to really grasp the National Electrical Code when you go in for an exam, okay? So in that study phase, in order to achieve that, and we always say about 90 days is what you need to really be prepared. So if you do the math, 2 times a week, 4 hours each session, it's going to work out to around 95 to 100 hours of dedicated study in a 3-month period. So that 3-month period is what we say. Now that doesn't mean that's etched in stone. If you're studying for any type of exam, inspector's exam, whatever, obviously if you have some knowledge that's already pre-built in, you've been doing this a while, even if you haven't been studying structurally, then you might not need the full 3 months to study for an electrical exam. You might only need to study for 2 months or maybe even a month and a half. It depends on your knowledge base, how comfortable, how you grasp. Now, in our Fast Tracks programs, you'll learn pretty quickly when you do your competency reviews where your level of knowledge is, okay? And that should gear how you study, right? But typically, when I say create a scheduled time, it's literally mark it down so that you study at least twice a week. Now, if you want to study 4 times a week for a reduced amount of time, that's okay too. Okay? If you want to study 4 times a week for 2 hours each session, that's fine. Okay. That's just kind of basically make sure that you set a schedule and you do it religiously. That's the one thing about being a structure. Now, our programs just help you stay within that structure. That's all. Code's code. But that's all our program is trying to do, is take you out of the course, into the code, back into the course, into the code. And so, again, that's just what we call structured study. And again, so set your schedule up. The second thing is set goals. I tell people this all the time. If you're going to go into study, the reason we break the Fast Tracks was not designed. The course that we use, Charles Miller's is what uses the base. His illustrated guide that's our base, and we enhance it. So it is not recreating code, but what it was never designed for exam prep. We created it in exam prep by adding certain elements into it so that it kind of takes you on this exam prep journey. So it's great for learning the code, but we had to tailor it. And that's kind of what the Fast Track system is we kind of tailored it for exam prep. Now, of course, you're going to learn the code in the process, but it was tailored for a reason. And everything is drip fed to you for a reason. And that's why we always put the questions at the very end of, at the last module. People ask, where are the database of questions? It's all the way at the end after Unit 19. Why? Because I don't want you doing questions right away. We want you doing the competency reviews and learning. So if you're studying for an exam, regardless of whether you're in our course, you're in Mike Holt's course, you're studying with Ryan's stuff or somebody else's stuff, set clear goals every time you study. Like, for example, if I want to learn about motors, I'm going to sit down in that study period and I'm going to focus on motors. So I'm going to look at 430. I'm going to look at sizing the single conductors for a single motor. I'm going to look at 430.22. I'm going to look at sizing the short circuit ground fault protection. I'm going to really focus on 430.52. If I'm talking about understanding FLCs, I'm going to be looking at 430.247, 248, 249, 250. If I'm thinking about overloads, then I'm going to be looking at 430.32. So my point is, go into your study plan with a session. Now, again, we use our course it's already broken down into that because that's what each unit is kind of drip feeding you through the code. But whoever you study with, whether you're studying for an electrical exam or inspector's exam or engineering exam, anything, when you go into it, make sure you have a clear goal that you want to get accomplished, right? So if I want to learn everything about box fill in this 2-hour session that I'm studying, and I'm in that unit in 314, Article 314, then I'm going to make sure that that's what I focus on and achieve my goal. So that by the time I'm done, I know about how to count the number of conductors in a box. I know what the devices count for. I know how to do equipment grounding conductors. That's the best way to learn, is go in there with the goals each time. The next thing, eliminate distractions. The hog is absolutely right. You cannot study properly for no matter what, whether you're preparing for an exam or you're just studying the code in general. It is a dry document. And if you want to learn how to go to sleep really quickly, all you got to do is just crack a code book over and go lay in the bed and you'll be asleep within 20 minutes. It is a very dry document. Some people enjoy reading it. I enjoy reading it. But it is a dry document. Here, I'll give you a tip on making the document less dry. You ready? Use TradeHog with it. So if you're studying and there's some terminology that you don't understand or something, you're going, what the hell does that mean? Put it in TradeHog. You can use the free version for a couple of times. Put it in there and let it explain a term that you don't understand or let it explain something. This interaction and moving back and forth is only going to help you learn, okay? That type of thing. Next is use active learning techniques, okay? Engage in the material, make notes, talk out loud about something, try to express something. I know people say you're crazy, you're talking to yourself. Don't worry about what they say. You're preparing, you're studying your mind. So it's something about the mind helps you retain stuff the more you articulate it. So if you read something about box fill or something about it, then do yourself a favor. Get in front of the mirror, and maybe you want to be an educator one day. Maybe you want to be a teacher. Maybe you're a leader and you want to engage with people, and you got to learn eye contact. You have to learn how to directly voice to somebody in order to express to them something. Then get in front of a mirror or just talk out loud and regurgitate what you just learned. Like if you're talking about box fill, you're talking about 314.16a for metal boxes, 314.16b for the cubic inch per conductor, and talk about devices and what happens with hickeys and the studs and what they count for, and talk about box fill. Talk about it out loud, even if it's just to yourself. If it's a topic that you're having trouble grasping, something about the verbal communication of it helps you, because your mind makes you have to rationale as if somebody's learning from you. So you play an educator. Doing that, is really going to be something that's going to help you connect with the material. Some people may be nervous to do this kind of stuff. So saying it out loud, you might be worried about other people, in your household going, what the hell is he talking about? Is he talking to himself? Don't worry about it. They'll all benefit from your success. Trust me, they will. And if you have a very supportive person, like I have my wife, she's heard me talk to myself for decades now, and she hasn't called the funny farm yet on me. So, hey, you need good support around you, but everybody's going to benefit from this. So again, active learning, also taking notes, writing things down. Force yourself to write things down. Even if you write stuff down and you're not going to keep it. Like I write notes all the time, right? That active engagement while you're studying helps you retain and remember stuff. It's just all part of this active learning process, that type of thing. All right, next is take regular breaks. Yes, I will tell you this is 100% true. If you're sitting down to do a study session and you start to wander a little bit, the mind starts to wander. I mean, you can tell if you start wandering. Anytime you're preparing for any type of exam, no matter where you are in life, and you're preparing for something, got to take breaks. Because again, there comes to a point in your mind, if you think of it like a beaker of knowledge, there becomes a point where you fill that sucker up that it starts overflowing. And once it starts overflowing, you create a mess. And now you have to struggle to clean the mess. That's the same thing for learning. If you sit there and you learn so much and you pour so much information in, and you can only receive so much information at that time, then it starts to mull over and you start questioning yourself, kind of like the spilt water out of a beaker. You start trying to mop up what you think you were putting into the beaker. So you need to take breaks. And I tell people all the time, I mean, we know a certain amount of knowledge, and we're constantly feeding that knowledge into our beaker of knowledge. And at some point, whether you know you're never going to know everything, but you'll get to the point where at that point, you're about to overflow. And that's when you need to take a break. And then you'll come back with a fresh perspective and you'll gain more information from it. You'll keep filling it up. So take regular breaks. 5-minute breaks are fine. Get out and enjoy life. Take a break if you're working at home. Get out, walk around your yard a couple times, look around, just engage the beautifulness of us being here. For those that say that this just happened because we crawled out of the water, or we're an amoeba or some kind of plankton, then they don't get it. I mean, look around you. The beautiful things that we're given, and many times we take for granted. Take time to smell the roses. And if your life is in turmoil right now, it'll get better. And you're doing the right thing. If you're studying and your life's in turmoil and you're trying to better yourself, many times people around you might not understand what you're going through, but you know what you're going through and you have a goal, you have a mission, and I think that you'll get there. You just have to stay focused on it. I believe in you. Obviously, you're here. You're dedicated. You got up. You're watching the coffee hour. So again, you've got what it takes. If you already are licensed, then you got to think about it. Is this it? Am I done? You're never done. Keep learning. Keep moving forward. There's always something new to learn. And I tell people to challenge yourself. Try to learn things that you find are tough for you. If you don't understand transformers and 450, spend a whole session to nothing but 450. If you find motors difficult, spend a whole session and then make notes about things you don't understand while you're studying. I don't understand this, or what is this, or what is this? Make notes. And then you can use things like the trade hog, the office hog. You can ask it questions and it will help you learn. That's what I got so excited about being able to offer Trade Hog, is that it's a technical model, but we also added the Office Hog as a back end to ask these kind of questions. So I think it's a great thing. All right. Practice problem solving. Obviously, it goes without saying. You got your exam prep questions. You got competency reviews. Try to relate it to real world situations. And also just remember that exams are not real world. So they might throw you something that's just off the wall you wouldn't agree with. You're like, it's never going to happen. Well, in an exam, it could. And, an exam sometimes creates a perfect world where everything could be plausible. So make sure you always focus on, in your study, read a question. And that's why I tell you, this is why I come back to this thing that people say to me, Paul, you have a code question. Why do you spend 15 minutes on a code question when somebody's studying for an exam only got 2 minutes? The reason I do this, and some of you already know this, is until you get to the last 2 weeks, up until that point, you're training the brain to be something that uses logic reasoning to look at something, dissect it as quick as possible. And you only get better at it as you train the brain. It's like any other muscle. If you train it, it gets better. If you sit there and watch TV all the time, you don't do anything but watch videos. This is why our program uses not a lot of video in the program, because I don't want people just sitting there glazed and watching videos all the time. I want you to have to read it to comprehend it. Obviously, I can do videos, but I want you to read it, and then you actually go back and look at the code, and then you come back, and then you go back, and then you come back. James has a good question. When is the next interactive video? I don't know. That's my team that's doing it. I honestly don't know when their next one is going to come out, but I expect it anytime soon for it to come out. But so stay tuned. I know you're subscribed there. I see you over on the tube, so you'll see it. It'll be out. But anyway, that's just some thoughts I have on training the brain, that type of thing. Next one is stay healthy. Obviously, you had to hydrate, keep hydrating. Coffee, for example, doesn't hydrate you. So if you're constantly living on coffee, and I get it, Diet Coke's caffeine, it dehydrates you. You definitely want to make sure that you're hydrated before you go to an exam. You want to make sure you're drinking water, staying hydrated before you start doing exam prep. Make sure that you're not starved yourself before you sit down and put that dedicated study time. Want to know why? Because you start thinking about food. You start thinking about, damn, I'm thirsty or whatever. And it takes away from the focus, concentration. So stay healthy, that type of thing. Mindfulness and relaxation. Okay? Incorporate mindfulness exercises, short meditation sessions, just to reduce anxiety. If you find that you are constantly stressed out, or you're doing something in exam prep or whatever, and you're sitting there going, I just don't get it. I don't understand the concept. If you ever notice that you're reading something and you really get it, and after a while, maybe it's reading a book or anything, you start reading it, but all of a sudden the mind starts also talking out loud, or says stuff like, I wonder what time it is, or is it snowing, or I haven't heard anything from my sister or my brother, or what. That's your mind's way of saying, look, you're not staying focused. Okay? You're not relaxed. You're not mentally tuned in. That's a great time to take a break. Anytime you're studying and all of a sudden you're reading something and then some other thought pops into your head about something else. Oh, did I lock the door, or did I do? Then you're not engaged. Stop, take a break, do some breathing exercises. Like I said, get out, walk around, do whatever you got to do. It's not going to do you any good to push through it when your mind is doing two different things. Okay? And if you've never experienced that, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one that's experienced that. Maybe I'm the one that's hearing voices, in the head. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, if you have that phenomena where you're trying to focus on something and then you got all these other things creeping in, it's time to take a break. Okay, I'm just saying. Other thing I will tell you, this one is very important right here. Stay positive. If you fail an exam or you don't achieve a goal, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Okay? It's just, one of those things that I don't know why you're trying to find fast tracks on Google. Just go to fasttracksystem.com. FASTTRAXSYSTEM. It's just that simple. And if you're looking at things on Google like Fast Tracks, then you do Fast Tracks exam prep or Fast Tracks electrical. Fast Tracks can be many things. I trademark Fast Tracks when it comes to the electrical part of it. But Fast Tracks, there's a race track out there called Fast Tracks. There's a lot of other things out there that use the term Fast Tracks, but you have to be, and it's kind of like that with AI. You've got to be specific on what you want. I'm not the only Fast Tracks out there. You know what I mean? So you've got to see, if you're looking for electrical exam prep, you go Fast Tracks electrical exam prep or Fast Tracks electrical, or it's just like anything. You have to train the model. And it's the same way for internet search. It's the same way for AI as well, that type of scenario. Hope that answers that question. All right. So anyway, stay positive. Remind yourself that you have these goals before any exam. Never go in second guessing yourself. If you put in the right time and you studied, go in there with a positive vibe. You're going to nail this thing, and you're going to set records. That's what your goals should be. Okay. And then lastly, seek support. You all do that. You come to coffee hour. You're students of ours. Many of you. You watch our videos, so you're already doing that. So that one, you're pretty much nailing it. Okay. All right, so let's get into some questions real quick today, and we will go on and test your brain and see what you got going on up there in the old noggin. Let's see here. So the question says, the receptacle outlet shall be installed at each wall counter space that is blank inches or wider. Okay. So we got 6, 12, 18, and 24. So receptacle outlet, which is basically the box that you put the receptacle device in. Y'all know that. Installed at each wall space. And now this is each wall counter space. Okay? Right? So this is when you're looking at the wall space that, like at the counter in your kitchen, you have to have a certain width of this counter. You have to have a certain amount before it would even justify a receptacle outlet. Now, we're not talking about the spacing, okay? This is where people get thrown, it's like, oh, this every 24 inches, It's not how the question is written, but you can see on an exam, somebody might answer it extremely quickly, right? And then they might give you the wrong thing and that type of thing. So you have 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches, and 24 inches, okay? If this question was worded slightly different, it might be 24 inches. But the way it's written, it's the wall counter space, and it talks about the outlet requirement at each wall counter space that is of a certain width. Okay, so it's not about distance from any point on the wall. It's not about the distance between receptacles. It is the distance of the countertop. Now, remember what I said in previous editions? When you start seeing anything in your mind, when you see anything about receptacle outlets and it's talking about anything to do with spacing, the first thing that should be triggered in your mind is 210.52. And you know that there is the A for the general spacing, you have B for small appliance, and you have C for the physical spacing that you would have on a counter, okay? So your mind has to think 210.52 anytime you see receptacle outlet and absolutely any spacing type question. So can I use the index for that? Sure, I could go to receptacles. I could look at all those type of things, but at the end of the day, this is one of those ones that you really remember because this is what you do day in and day out. So on an exam, this is probably one that you're going to answer really quickly. And somebody asked me yesterday, and I failed to do this, and all the answers are coming in except for the last one, which was incorrect. Again, Van, look at the question. It's nothing about measurements. It's nothing about from any point on a wall on a counter. It's not what the question is. Look at the question again. Think about it again and look at it again. And while you're looking at that, I'm going to come and just say that, one of the things that we have to be, very careful about in looking at a question is when we take the time to dissect it, it is one of those things that allow us to pull out the little pieces in here that are important to us. Receptacle in the index, look it up. Outlet index, look it up. Wall counter space, look it up in the index. Spend that time dissecting a question, okay? Because it's going to pay dividends later for you if you do that. I promise you, it will. So take the time. Don't listen to what anybody says about, well, you got to answer that question in 2 minutes. You can't do that like Paul says. Yeah, you do that the last 2 weeks, you'll time yourself. Until then, no. And if you're not preparing for an exam and you're just learning the code in general, then you should never be timing yourself because you got endless amounts of time, right? So you should be able to just sit there and beat the question to death, that type of thing, okay? All right, so let's go back here to the lesson here. Okay, so here again, wall space, and in the National Electrical Code, by the way, it is, we'll go to the code so that I can show you where it is. We go to the code, remember I said default, let's go to 210.52 and do our bold scanning from there because that is dwelling unit receptacle outlets, right? That's our area where we start, and we have our general requirements up here. Important to know these. And we're getting down and we're gonna look at the bold scan and B, okay, small appliance, we don't need to worry about that. Countertops and work surfaces, okay, right here. In kitchens, pantries, breakfast rooms, dining rooms, and similar areas of dwelling units, receptacle outlets for countertops and work surfaces that are 12 inches or wider shall be installed in accordance with 210.52C1 through C3. Okay, that's your wall space, okay? Now here it tells you about no point along the wall is more than 24 inches from a receptacle. But up here is where it talks about where you start this measurement down here, okay? And right here it says any countertop surface that are 12 inches or wider shall be installed in accordance with this. It's right there. So the default is 12, but 24 between any point on the wall, but this rule kicks in when the countertop space is 12 inches, okay? 12 inches or wider. There we go. So there's where you get your reference at. So let's go back to here. And obviously our answer is going to be 12. And here's our code reference right here. Okay. How many of you got that? All right. Okay. 76 has a question. Let's see. What is the question here? I'm sorry. Let me put it on the screen here. Paul, I have a longer question that I would like to ask. Is this the place? If it's a very long question, a very detailed question, no, it's not. Go to paulabernathy.com. If it's going to take you a long question, it's going to take multiple slides, then that's the best place to do it. Or go over and try TradeHog and plug it into TradeHog and see what you get. But yeah, the real long, detailed question, this is probably not the place for it. Just go to paulabernathy.com. Let's see. Vanman says, I know it's 12, but I can't find it. That's when you look at 210.52, basically it's C. Okay, 210.52C is where you find it, fan man. All right, and there you go. Paul got it out there. All right, let's spin the wheel real quick and give away something. Okay, so here we are. Do me a favor, make sure you've hit #win to get in on the spin, and we can do some giveaways today, or we can add you to the drawing. We got quite a few people for the drawing, and that's awesome. That's what I want to see, because we want to give away a bunch of stuff in March, at the end of March. Okay, and people say, why end of March? Because we got to generate stuff to give away. Come on, all right? All right, so let's go on and spin the wheel. Hopefully you did it. If it's not a dwelling, then there is no requirement. Terrence makes a good question here. He says, what about if it's not dwelling? Then it doesn't matter, because these are dwelling applications. In commercial buildings, you can put receptacles wherever you want. The engineer designs where they go. There's no rhyme or reason. You can put them anywhere you want. So only dwellings have spacing requirements. In commercial buildings, put them anywhere they want to put them. It's up to the design engineer. This rule only covers for dwelling unit applications. All right, let's go on and spin #win. And let's see what we got going on here. I got the music geared up. Rob. All right, Rob, let me get you down here. All right, Rob, let's see what you're going to spin for today. Let's go. All right, we still have the estimating software, the estimating course, a bunch of our courses, videos. Drop card. All right, Rob, you're in the drawing for the VD card. Okay. So that's a neat metal card. I've got them. I don't have them on site. I mean, they're over the podcast room. I'm not going to leave y'all today to go show you one, but they're the metal cards, that type of thing. And they're great to have in your pocket for voltage drop and all that type of thing. Even shows you how to calculate the actual K, which you really don't need for voltage drop, that type of thing. Oh, by the way, we are going to do a calculations in Ohm's law, Watt's law, series, parallel, the basics on electrical math, all that kind of stuff. We're going to do one of those on Coffee Hour, and I think we're going to do that this Friday. Don't hold me to it, but I think it's this Friday, because y'all know Monday we're going to start the optional method for single family dwelling, because we've already done the standard method. We're going to be doing the optional method. I only expect that to take a couple days. But I do want to get a math basics, general knowledge day here on Coffee Hour. I want y'all know that you want general knowledge. Just good to have it in the field, general knowledge. So we'll bring some formulas. We'll talk voltage drop formulas. We'll talk all the basic stuff that you really need to lock in your brain. So look for that. It's either going to be this Friday or next week. I am not 100% sure yet. I got to get with Jeff to see what he wants to do. But at any rate, that's what we've got, and Jeff is watching. Okay, so he is watching the stream today. He is shy. I tried to get him to come on today. He says he's not interested in anything online. So, except for what he does, feed the hog. So that type of thing. Okay. All right. So there you go, Rob. You're in for that. Let's redo this again. Let's do the #win. Let's go. See who else going to win something this morning or get in the drawing. They got some new names coming up here, so this thing is getting it here. Jay Ormond. All right, Jay, we're going to spin and see what you can get in on drawing, or if you win something instantly. Let's see here. Let's get you in on the spin here. At least everything's working today. Seems like everything's working. Okay. How's the screen look on y'all's end? Does everything look good? There's a lot of stuff on that wheel, dude. You can't even see all this stuff. All right, Jay, 12 months. Fast Tracks Tube. That is the best video platform out there, and that is where our interactive videos are. We got one up there now, as James was talking about earlier, and we've got another one coming. I think Jeff, yeah, so another one's coming soon. So again, that type of thing. So thank you, Mr. Simplex. Appreciate you. All right, let's give away something else. Let's do it again real quick before we go back to another code question. Let's do it. Nice. Yes, my Facebook viewer. My only Facebook viewer. All right. Manny's probably over on behind the scenes on TikTok too. He does that. And you're most welcome, Rob. You can register. You can get selected multiple times. I'm sure your name will come up on the wheel every morning. I mean, I'm sure it'll come up the more closer we get to March 31st. Say, all right, Manny, let's spin the wheel. Let's see what you're going to get, Manny. Let's go. Manny's in the house, probably over here on TikTok as well. He always gives me the little lightning bolts and stuff on the TikTok. I'm not sure what that stuff means, but I love it. All right. Okay, Manny's in the drawing for the master or journeyman license plate. That's just those license plates that we make. They're just engraved plates. License plate. So you're in that drawing. And Paul, we are submitting your information to the board of directors next month. So I have a board of directors that we work with. They're voluntary board, but they help me and give me guidance. They can be somebody I can bounce ideas off of. So we're going to present it to them, see if we want to do that. So keep you posted. All right, let's get to another code question real quick. All right, so here's another code question. Get your code books out. Stretch. Jeff is Jeef, feed the hog. Jeef, you're a Jeef. All right, so it says an equipment grounding conductor shall not be used as a blank conductor. Okay, so when I'm looking at a question like this, okay, it says okay. Samantha, yeah, all of them are it's pretty much all of them lag a little bit somewhere. On Fast Tracks Tube, it's about a 15-second lag. On some other ones, it's there is a lag. It may get better as we get faster upload, but I doubt it. Usually, it's the connection speeds that limit it from the viewer's side. But we'll see, because we do have that coming. We got great things coming. We're going to be growing. We got faster speeds, and that means we can do more stuff that we've been limited to do for a while. But in fact, here I can't have multiple cameras, even in the studio or anybody, because of our bandwidth on the upload. I can only really resolve to one camera. Where usually, y'all know, I'm used to back in Texas, I had 3 cameras. I could look in on a code book. I could look in front of me. I could look at another table. So that's going to change hopefully in the next couple months when we get the faster speeds in here. Okay. People say, what do you need fast speed for? It's our download we don't need. It's the upload that we struggle with. All right. So this is equipment grounding. So the first thing that I do when I look at a question like this is I don't really need the code book for me to do this. But you could look in the back in your index under equipment grounding conductors. For this, you could look under conductors, those type of things. But for me, what I'm looking for is equipment grounding conductors. And where do I go in the code to find out about equipment grounding conductors? I go to 250 and I go to 118 because that gives me the list of different type of equipment grounding conductors, EGCs. What can be an equipment grounding conductor? And so this one's talking about a conductor, okay? So I want to go there. So if I'm going in the NEC and I'm just thinking of the questions and I'm thinking, well, of that question, it's asking about equipment grounding conductors. So where better to go than to the list of different types of equipment grounding conductors, right? So I'm over here and I'm going to go to 250, 118, which I know and you know because you've been studying that that's equipment grounding conductor. That's our list. And this is a question about equipment grounding conductors, the different types. So here we go. And basically it says, what do we got here? We got permitted. All right. And when we're looking at the different, and we get what's not permitted. All right. Okay. So equipment grounding conductors are not permitted to be what? Grounding electrode conductors. All right. So, and it's, so we get, shall not be used as, so the grounding electrode conductors are not to be used as equipment grounding conductors. Okay. So equipment grounding conductors shall not be used as blank conductor in a grounding electrode conductor. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. All right. They do have a little exception here. It is quite a unique little exception, but in general, not going to be a grounding electrode conductor. So let's come back to the lesson. So an equipment grounding conductor shall not be used as a grounding electrode conductor. Okay. There you go. So the best plausible answer here. Now, of course, you might say, well, it can't be used as a phase conductor. Can't be used, can't be used as a neutral. Well, there is some occasions where it can be. That's very unique, like a PV application. And as long as it's sized properly, it can serve a double duty. But the best plausible answer here is grounding electrode conductor. Okay? Because it physically says that right in the code. That type of thing. So it's the best plausible answer, and you're always going for the best plausible answer. All right, next question. Where do I see that? Okay, Van, let's go back to the code right here. Not permitted. The question was asking about an equipment grounding conductor shall not be used as a blank conductor. Okay, so this is permitted uses for grounding electrode conductors right here. Okay. Each of the grounding electrical conductors run, this is talking about the permitted use of all of them. Down here, the non-permitted use, it's flat out telling you in print, not permitted. An equipment grounding conductor cannot be a grounding electrode conductor. Period. It's in print right there. So when you're answering an exam question, you're looking for the best plausible answer. And the best plausible answer is it's in writing, it's in print, right in 251.18b1. It cannot be a grounding electrode conductor. Okay, so that's why we chose that one. That's where I see that, Dan. All right, next question. It says, I have trouble under pressure. Yeah, you're not alone, man. That's the thing that we have to work on, and that's why a great example is that when you're in an exam or in a stressful situation, trying to answer quickly, it's kind of replicates that scenario. You'll get better. You have to study properly and study with a plan and take those questions, dissect those questions, okay, over and over and over again. And try to answer it in many ways, but look for the best plausible answer. For that one, you don't see anything under equipment grounding conductors that says that equipment ground can be a phase conductor, right? You don't see anything under there that specifically says that it can be a neutral conductor, specifically under 251.18. And you know that 251.18 lists the different types of equipment grounding conductors. So the only plausible answer there is the one where it says flat out, it can't be a grounding electrode conductor, flat out, right? So that's why we use that. Now, there is an exception to that rule, okay? But you don't assume exceptions when you're doing exams unless they state it, because otherwise you just go with the regular flow of the question. So kind of like you always assume copper unless stated otherwise, okay? That type of thing. A lot of exams will say excluding exceptions. And in the question, if it wants to bring in the allowance of the use of an exception, it'll actually say that. So be very sensitive about your testing, how you test. But in your case, just take your time, dissect the question the best you can, and you'll get better at it over time. You definitely will. Okay. Let's see. What does James say? Long time ago, I had a plastic business-like card with conduit bending information, shrink, offset, fraction, whatever. you should make some of these and sell them. We do have that. We have the business cards that have different things on them. There are other cards. We probably don't have one with that type of detail in it, but we do have the different cards. The problem with that, James, is we put a lot of effort into it, and even with our voltage drop cards and stuff like that, I mean, I probably should explain this because we obviously do all these cards. Our problem with it is it takes time to do it, and we don't sell very many. Okay, of voltage drop cards, we probably sell less than maybe, they're an additional thing. We only sell probably, our store is not very well done. It's hard to get to. It's not on the internet. We don't promote it. We got rid of Electrician Pride. So we don't sell very many. So to develop all these cards, we'd have to spend a lot of time promoting them. And then, very few people are buying cards. That's, so, I mean, we have some of you out there, we appreciate you that get them. But in a year of the business style metal cards, we probably only sell, I would venture to say, maybe 50 to 75 a year. And that is not enough for me to expand out in a bunch of different cards. You know what I'm saying? That type of scenario. All right. David gives a reference to 250.121, but that's not going to be the reference. That's just talking about, 250.21. We're talking about equipment grounding conductors, and that is 250.118. So it's a little different. You might get to the same conclusion there, but it's not really the reference that's going to get you to the actual answer that we're looking for. All right, let's get back. But again, if you can find the answer in multiple places, okay, that type of thing, okay. Okay, Van Man, again, let me explain this to people because I have to do this every episode. I am using the 2023 edition of the National Electrical Code. I cannot do the 2020 and I cannot do the 2018. Okay, so you might get that reference somewhere else, but I've got to go with the latest edition of the National Electrical Code. I don't have the time to go through all different editions. So I'm in the 2023, and that's where it's at in the 2023. It's the best I can do for you on that. But if you find the answer in other places in earlier cycles, there you go. I can only do the latest edition. It just would take too long to do anything otherwise. All right. So let's answer this question here real quick. So what we're dealing in is three capacitors of the same size provide the most capacitance when, all right? And basically, this is a code knowledge question. It's not something you're going to find in the National Electrical Code. This is one of those things where you have to understand how they work, okay? When you do things, for example, in parallel, then you're going to get more capacitance out of it, right? So this is one of those. What do you say? No worries, Van. I just wish I did have the time, but as you can see, I'm rapidly running out of time, and it's hard for me to go through all the different cycles of the code. And to show you, definitely to point that out, I will go to the 2020, right, and show you y'all what he's talking about because people ask what he's talking about. So if I go down to 2020, this is a 2020, by the way. If I go down to 118, all right, and I just going to show you. Okay, so this is the different types, okay? And you go down and you see how they say it stops right here. This one, right? That's what he's talking about. This is the 2020 edition. You'll see that 2023 is an example of a change, which brought that in from that reference, okay? And then basically, 250.121 was titled restricted use, and that's where David was referencing, right? So here, the grounding electrode conductor, the equipment grounding conductor shall not be used as a grounding electrode conductor. So basically in the 2023, they pulled this, extracted it, put it in 250.118 as a B, right? But in the 2020, and this is why I can't go back and forth, but I do appreciate David and Van and all that bringing it out, because from time to time, it is probably prudent for me to jump back and forth a little bit where necessary. So it didn't take up that much time. I can't do it every time, but that type of thing. So that's where it was here in the 2020. And then when we go back to the 2023, that is where you're going to see it moved. Now, interesting enough, let's look at 250.121 in this one. Okay, so you notice that 121 is gone in the 2023. It's disappeared, gone. So that's where it was relocated to right here. That type of thing. Just imagine, folks, for a second, even though if I think it's a good thing, just imagine how stressful it's going to be for most people when the 2029 edition comes out and they totally move everything around. Same technical stuff, it's just going to move. So when you first encounter that, it's going to be very stressful, I think, because people are going to like, oh, what happened? Where did it go? And it's still there. It's not like they're going to get rid of it. It's all technical, but man, it's going to all move around. Okay. So yeah, I wish every state would jump to the latest edition of the NEC. So I feel for you guys, Van and David and all that, and everybody, Charlie, who are stuck in these earlier cycles. I feel for you. It's tough. It's even tough for me to teach the 2011, 2014, 2017, 2020, 2023. That's why I tell people when you use paulabernathy.com, make sure you let me know what code cycle you're in. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you let me know, because like David pointed out, it's different in the 2020. All right. Val pointed out it's different, that type of thing. Okay. All right. Anyway, back to the lesson question. So this is just a general knowledge, should be a general knowledge question. Yeah, general knowledge question. So when you do capacitors in the same size, provided the capacitance when in parallel. So 3 capacitors of the same size provide the most capacitance when you install them in parallel. Okay. Not in series, in parallel. Okay. Kind of like if you think about, here, what's an easy way to think about this one? Same thing when you're running conductors, right? Easiest way to think about these is the same with capacitors, the same with the circuit. If you're running parallel sets conductors and you're running a parallel installation, then you get more current out of it. So you get more capacity. So think of it that way. If you need a little tip in your head, if you get a knowledge question like that, you got 3 capacitors and they're installed in parallel, you're going to get more capacitance out of it, or more capacity out of it. Okay, that type of thing. It makes sense. So that kind of scenario, if that even makes sense out of it. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's go spin the wheel one more time. Give a couple more things away, and hashtag win, because everybody's putting that in the win. So let's go. I will spin it. Add some additional giveaways here. Yes, DJ. DC is just really coming to its own about 2011 and 2014. So, hey, Ben Mena, got some new names here today. Thanks for joining us, Ben. And I'm going to spin and see what we can get for you today. There you go, Terrence. Yeah, all over the place. You know, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, all that area. You never know what the heck they're on. So yeah, that's why I get it. It's why I have to look at all different cycles when I'm doing different things as a consultant, because again, I'm in Virginia now. So I consult to people all over the country. So if all I did was answer questions in Virginia, I could lock it in. Or Texas, I can lock it in. But it's all over the freaking place. All right, Ben, you're in the drawing for the Ohms wheel coin. And that's a master or journeyman coin. You can have whichever you want on it for master or journeyman, but you'll be in the drawing. That drawing is March 31st. So, and I will be doing a video that shows all the winners. It'll be scrolling up the screen, or they'll all be listed on the screen. So don't worry about that. You'll be able to tell whether you won or not if you're in one of the drawings. All right. All right. Let's go on and do another one here. Luminity. Okay. Is it you connected to the Illuminati? I'm just saying. All right. Woo, Joseph says it's 16 degrees Fahrenheit there. Dude, that's just too damn cold. All right, let's spin the wheel. Let's see what you get, Luminity. I'm saying that right, Luminity? See what you get if you get the drawing or you get an instant win. Let's see. A lot of little spaces on that wheel. All right, bidding and estimating course. Okay, so Illuminati, this is our best bid hybrid. It's like a $4,000 estimating software. Oh, wait a minute, I keep forgetting. This is the course. This is the course on how to do estimating and bidding, how to learn about man hours, how to be able to break down a job, all the stuff that you need to know to be successful. Maybe you're working in the field and you want to end up being an estimator or bidding or work out of the cold and get into the office, whatever. Anyway, this is a course that's done by Steve Griffin and them. And this course will teach you all the things that you need to know about bidding and estimating, and it's over $500 value. You're in the drawing that is going to be on March 31st. So got to get you down for the bidding course. I like that one because I think everybody should understand the principles of bidding, estimating, man hours, overhead, how to work those type of things, how to break down plan reviews, how to break down design. All that stuff is in this course, and it's extensive. It's 100% online too, and it also has interactive questions, and you grade, it gets graded and all that stuff. So it's a really neat course. So you're in the drawing. You don't have to do anything. Okay. You just sit back and hopefully you will, if you win the drawing, your name will appear. We're only giving away one course, and we're giving away one estimating software. The estimating software is right at $4,000 value. This is over $500 value here for this course. Okay. So again, congratulations from that. All right. All right. Does anybody have a question they want to feed the hog before we leave? Give me a basic question, and we'll feed the hog and see what the hog says. I don't see that there's any in here. Let's see here. I don't see a question in here. If anybody wants to feed the hog, we can feed the hog before we go. Otherwise, I'm going to let you folks go. Let's see here. Okay. Let's go over here to here. I'll clear that out. So this was Office Hog, by the way. Okay. You are included. It just scrolls. If you did #win, but it's got to be exactly #win. So I don't control it. If you put in #win, WIN, and exactly how it said it, then it's in the thing. I imagine it's just a scroller. It just kind of scrolls, but I don't control it. So you're on Facebook, so it's tied to it. So you'd be in it. Illuminati's on Facebook as well, Illuminati, and he was in it. So there you go. All right. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Let's go to Trade Hog. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to the main hog. Here he is. So this is the main hog. RI says every day. This is not really a class. This is coffee hour. So we don't just do exam prep. It's not exam prep. It's just us getting together in the morning, talking code, talking electrical. You can post the questions. If they're really long questions, it's going to take up too much space. And it's going to be really hard to answer long questions, and go to paulabernathy.com. Other than that, it's just a coffee hour. We give away, we get together in the morning, that type of thing. That type of stuff. See, we got another question here. Somebody says, Brian says, what are your thoughts on the electrical industry and the use of AI, and is possible resulting in who is the best engine algorithm database in class versus true human intellect? Well, I did a video Monday's show of last week. I think it was Monday's show, or this Monday. I did a whole episode on AI for the construction industry. I recommend you go check it out and look at it and watch it. I also did a podcast on the subject. I think that the AI is going to be great for. It's not going to be good for educators in a school. I don't think there's a need for it there. You got to learn the code, learn it. But as far as in the field, you're on YouTube, Bobby, and so was in Illuminetti, and he was selected. So if you did hashtag win, you've got to do the hashtag win. If you did it, then you're in the drawing. I don't control it; it's automated, so I don't have any say over it. So it spins so quickly. So but anyway, I can't control that. So it's as far as the best option, I think OpenAI right now is the base platform is probably the best option, right? Although Elon came out with Gronk AI, which is pretty good, but it is very generic, brings back a lot of wasted information. TradeHog is basically OpenAI as a base, and then on top of it is what we put in our dedicated information. So Jeff, for example, is using what's called the AI assistant. And what he's doing, he's uploading things like manuals and documents and things like that. Okay. And so that's how it learns. And each session is uniquely different. But what it's doing is it's pulling from a reservoir of documents that have been uploaded into the system. So it's not just pulling from the internet. So I think that's what makes it unique. Now, which is the better? I think at the end of the day, for construction, I don't think anything compares to TradeHog. When it comes to general information, ChatGPT is good. Gronk AI is going to be good, or XI, whatever he calls it. I think it's going to be good. I'd steer away from things like DeepSeek, just for obvious reasons. But other than that, I think all the AIs are getting better and they're all getting smarter. The problem with AI is even though it's AI and it's never going to replace the human's thought process. It's going to get close, but it doesn't have emotion. It's devoid of emotion. And sometimes we have to have codes also intermingle with best practices, and it depends on how you train it. Ours, we're training it that way. It doesn't mean it's the best and it's going to be for everybody. It's just another offering that we offer. And the reason we added the Office Hog is because we wanted to bring in the best of a chat GPT that people are paying for $20 a month for the good one, because they want it siphoned down. So they don't want it to be talking over expand. They want it to be focused on the electrical industry or the plumbing industry or the trades. And that's what we focus on. But yeah, all of them I think are going to be enhancements to the industry. Anybody in the electrical industry, if it can help you write articles, it can help you find code references, if it can help you answer tough HR questions, if it can help you answer maybe tax questions or at least where to go, all those type of things, then it is going to benefit the electrical industry, plumbing industry, mechanical industry. All the industries are going to benefit because that info is out there. It just, rather than go to something like a Google or something like that, which is going to be very, it's pre-dictated. For example, when you go searching for electrical exam prep, the results you get are based on how well somebody designs their page, not necessarily who has the best information or who has the best courses. It's some people pay to be listed up front. So I think in the world where people are going to say, look, I don't want that stuff, I don't want to pay to play type of scenario, I think that that's where the AI models and in the trade hogs and the office hogs and the chat GTPs and the Gronk AI or XI, those are where we're going to see that it's really going to help our industry, because it's going to bring back relevant results pretty quickly, okay? And now as far as like in classes, I don't see where AI should be any role in that. I think that you can use that to ask it tough questions that nobody understands a definition or what words mean, or give me an example of something that you don't understand in the code. Maybe it's something that you're in motors or something that you're not used to doing. You're like, I don't understand what that means, that word, I don't get it. Then AI is going to be great for that, because you can plug it in and it'll bring back something and it'll give you an explanation. And you can even say, can you explain it to me as you would a 5-year-old? And it'll break it down into analogies. That's going to be great, because there's certain people that will struggle with that. AI would be great for that. But as far as learning the technical stuff in an electrical class, for example, I don't think we should be moving away from the fact that you need the code book, you need a competent instructor, and the instructor being able to be there to answer that one-on-one stuff as you move through it. I think that is going to make it difficult. For example, in our Fast Tracks programs, we have what's called Fast Tracks Interact, which many students don't even know about, that in the course, you can ask questions. Now, it's not available on the 2017 products, but it is on the 2020 and 2023. We interacted that so that you could have that kind of human experience and interact it that goes with it. Obviously, we could have an AI tool answer questions and pull up our database and answer questions based on the database. Obviously, we could do that, but we're not at that point where I think that that's to do that. We do this every morning at 8 a.m., Bobby. 8 a.m. Eastern time every morning, Monday through Friday, right here. Same time, same back channel. All right, hopefully that answered your question. All right, folks, remember that join us every morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, right here with your cup of coffee, cup of Java, Diet Pepsi, mixed drink, whatever you want. And join us. You never know the topic. We do try to stay with code questions and have an interactive every day, unless I'm doing something special. Like maybe the end of this week, I'm going to do calculations when it comes to basic math, electrical math. But we also are going to start a series on Monday of the optional method. Now, if you haven't joined us before, you might have missed the series I did on the standard method. Well, right now it is still available over on our YouTube channel. Go search the YouTube channel for our recent lives, and you will see those shows. Soon that won't be there. It'll be over on Fast Tracks Tube, and the only place you can watch it is Fast Tracks Tube. We're going to leave them up for now, but they will slowly disappear and go over to our paid platform, which is Fast Tracks Tube. All right, folks. Hopefully you got something out of today. Remember, the only way that you can ever get in on the spin is to do #win, and your name will appear no matter what platform you are, and we will put you in the drawing. I don't control it. It just randomly picks people. So again, hopefully you don't join us just for that. You join us because you learned something. All right, folks, I went over today as usual. So till next time, stay safe. God bless, and I will catch you on another episode of Coffee Hour tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. See you there.